Do you want to flow like water through the most dangerous battlefields, freezing your enemies helpless and punching them into oblivion? Do you want to shatter, unravel, and ignite your enemies all at the same time, while making not only yourself but your whole fireteam practically invincible? What is going on, Guardians? Dorvrich here, and in this video I will be showcasing a brand new prismatic variant of my signature Thunder Punch build that provides even more damage, far better survivability, and insanely good team utility. And as you can see, even though we are 30 power under level in this Master Lost sector, making this even harder than a Grandmaster, off surge so everything is even tankier, nothing stands a chance against us. This build is so ridiculously strong that it brought me back to YouTube because I just had to share it with you guys. I genuinely believe this is the strongest Hunter has ever been. At the center of this build is a classic Arcstrider ability combo that found its way into Prismatic Hunter, Combination Blow and Gambler's Dodge. The Combination Blow melee ability gives us a stacking damage bonus every time it scores a kill, and each kill will refund our dodge. Since Gambler's Dodge then fully refunds our melee ability, we can keep punching and dodging back to back with more than quadruple melee damage in a combo that I call the Dance of Death. The Dance of Death enables the whole build and feeds perfectly into both of our aspects, starting with Winter's Shroud, which applies a stasis slow to everything within 9 meters whenever we dodge. Since we are punching and dodging non-stop, Winter's Shroud will constantly slow and then freeze everything around us. 2 dodges is enough to freeze, and this freeze serves 3 essential functions. It takes pressure off of us and our team by crowd controlling enemies. It sets up a huge melee burst against tanky targets thanks to the melee damage bonus against frozen enemies, and it also sets them up for massive splash damage from shattering. Our other aspect, Threaded Spectre, is game-breakingly powerful when used alongside the Dance of Death. With Threaded Spectre, every single dodge will now not only slow enemies but also summon a decoy that will taunt enemies to attack it. With the absolutely ridiculous amount of decoys we leave all over the battlefield, neither we nor our teammates have to worry about being attacked. And it doesn't stop there. When these decoys die, are approached, or time out, they explode and make threadlings that will seek out enemies and explode yet again. Between the decoy explosion itself and the threadling damage, it is nearly equivalent to a solar ignition, and that goes for every single decoy. This aspect is so much better than Stylish Executioner that it's not even close. Stylish gives us invisibility, whereas Spectre gives pseudo-invisibility to every single person in our fire team by pulling aggro, nukes groups, and does not even require a kill to activate. Stylish Executioner does give us a 150% damage bonus when melee attacking to break invisibility, which sounds good on the surface. But this bonus is incompatible with the next piece of our burst damage, a 1-2 punch shotgun. Point blanking a target with a shotgun with the 1-2 punch perk and landing every pellet will give us a 100% boost to our next melee hit, going up to 150% against bosses and champions. This is a better choice than Stylish Executioner, since Stylish Executioner only affects the hit that we use to initially break out of invisibility, whereas the shotgun can be used to buff follow-up hits as well against anything that doesn't get one shot, such as high-level champions. When we need to absolutely delete something from existence, shoot its center of mass with the shotgun, then immediately punch and enjoy the giant damage numbers. The brand new double exotic class items push this already strong build straight into insanity. When I first released the predecessor to this build on release of Arc 3.0, I received a lot of questions about why I chose to use Assassin's Cowl over the more popular choice at the time, Liar's Handshake. But now, thanks to the new exotic cloak relativism, we can have the best of both worlds. Our double exotic perks of choice for this build are Spirit of the Assassin and Spirit of the Liar, the former of which will make us invisible on every powered melee kill, and the latter of which will turn every second punch into a cross-counter wrist blade stab with a massive 200% damage increase. Adding invisibility to our kit turns our already insane survivability into borderline immortality. while Cross Counter serves to both add burst damage and help secure our initial stacks when playing underlevel. The Syntheseps perk would also be good in the second column, trading the unconditional activation of Cross Counter for 10% more damage overall when surrounded. Our grenade ability, Grapple Grenade, is the perfect fit for this build. It serves as a gap closer, and performing a grapple melee will apply Unravel for even more splash damage. Although the grapple melee does not inherit combination blows damage buff, it still does far more damage than a 0-stack melee, and is the perfect way to secure a powered melee kill at the start of an engagement for invisibility through Spirit of the Assassin, and Woven Mail through the first of our fragments, Facet of Purpose. Facet of Purpose gives us a defensive buff matching the elemental affinity of our chosen super whenever we pick up an Orb of Power. Since we are using the Silk Strike super, this means the orbs will give us the Woven Mail buff for 45% damage reduction. Woven Mail allows us to survive all-out aggressive play even when severely underlevel, but for other activities the additional damage reduction can be overkill. For raiding, I recommend Golden Gun as it allows us to hot swap Celestial Nighthawk for boss DPS, and the restoration it gives us is plenty to keep us alive in a raid setting. Facet of Protection gives us even more survivability by providing us with a 15% damage resistance when near at least 3 enemies, while Facet of Courage gives us a near constant 10% additional damage on our punches, since we will be debuffing everything nearby with stasis via Winter's Shroud. The last core fragment to the build is Facet of Ruin, which improves our stasis shatters by making them hit an additional time, with the second damage instance covering a larger radius but hitting for less damage. The final 2 fragments are flex slots. I currently prefer the Devotion plus Sacrifice combo to turbocharge Transcendence buildup. Normally we would not meet the conditions for Sacrifice without being on a light super, but the current artifact gives us these buffs for free, so this is a strong choice at the moment. Otherwise, I would recommend Facet of Hope to get our class ability back faster in case we mess up the loop, and Facet of Generosity to make a mountain of orbs for our teammates, on top of what we already get from our mod package. Speaking of mods, by far the most important mod in the build is Heavy Handed, which makes an Orb of Power every 10 seconds when we score a melee kill. Stacking 3 of these brings the cooldown all the way down to 1 second, which allows us to create an orb every time we punch something to death. These orbs not only activate Facet of Purpose to give us Woven Mail, but also give us a burst heal through the Recuperation mod. Since we will be creating so many orbs, we also use the Innervation and Absolution mods to turn each orb into a chunk of grenade energy and all abilities energy respectively. To absolutely ensure that we collect every orb on the battlefield, the powerful Attraction mod collects nearby orbs for us every time we dodge, and since we are dodging non-stop, no orb will be left behind. And speaking of non-stop dodging, we round out our core mods with Distribution to generate energy for all our abilities in our super every time we dodge, and Double Dynamo to generate a big chunk of super energy. Fill in the rest of the mod slots with appropriate resist mods, stat mods, and utility mods of your choice. I prefer a special finisher on the class item to carry over armor charge stacks for raid DPS, with the ability to also make special ammo for the team if needed, and powerful friends on the helmet to help keep up our teammates' armor charge stacks. For stats, prioritize Resilience first for damage reduction, and get this to 100 if you can. The next priority is Discipline to assist our grenade cooldown, followed by Mobility to get our dodge back faster in case we mess up and break our loop. And as always, I'm going to keep saying this until I stop seeing people do it all the time. Do not sacrifice mod slots for higher stats if you are tight on space. Double and triple 100s may look nice, but the reality is that dropping down one stat tier is much better than dropping a mod that actively helps the build, or using a bad fragment solely for stats. Weapon choice is pretty open-ended. Outside of a 1-2 punch shotgun, we can use whatever the activity calls for. Tractor Cannon pairs especially well with the build since the 30% weakening debuff enables some truly spectacular burst damage, and is a great weapon to use with the build in a raid setting to debuff the boss for our team. As for how to play the build, the number 1 priority is to get 3 stacks of Combination Blow. Grapple in and secure a grapple kill on something small to kickstart your buffs. Then start punching and dodging, using the 1-2 punch shotgun as needed if you run into anything big. Transcend whenever possible for even more damage and damage reduction, and remember to throw your Prismatic grenade whenever you can, as it does a lot of damage over time. If you do it right, everything near you will be frozen, everything else will be focused on your decoys, and your teammates will love your insane orb generation. Keep punching, keep dodging, and turn the battlefield into a beautiful symphony of destruction. Drop a like if you found this video helpful or entertaining, subscribe if you want to see more like it, and feel free to ask any questions you have in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one, Guardians.